Page 3, Praise to Shakyamuni Buddha. To the founder, the endowed, transcendent destroyer, the one gone beyond, the foe destroyer, the completely perfected, fully awakened being, perfect in knowledge and in good conduct, Sugata, knower of the world, supreme guide of human beings to be tamed, teacher of gods and human beings, to you the completely and fully awakened one, the endowed transcendent destroyer, the glorious conqueror, the subduer from the Shakya clan, I prostrate, make offerings, and go for refuge. To the founder, the endowed, transcendent destroyer, the one gone beyond, the foe destroyer, the completely perfected, fully awakened being, perfect in knowledge and in good conduct, Sugata, knower of the world, supreme guide of human beings to be tamed, teacher of gods and human beings, to you the completely and fully awakened one, the endowed, transcendent destroyer, the glorious conqueror, the subduer from the Shakya clan, I prostrate, make offerings, and go for refuge. To the founder, the endowed, transcendent destroyer, the one gone beyond, the foe destroyer, the completely perfected, fully awakened being, perfect in knowledge and in good conduct, Sugata, knower of the world, supreme guide of human beings to be tamed, teacher of gods and human beings, to you the completely and fully awakened one, the endowed, transcendent destroyer, the glorious conqueror, the subduer from the Shakya clan, I prostrate, make offerings, and go for refuge. When, O Supreme, amongst humans you were born on this earth, you paced out 7 strides, then said, I am supreme in this world. To you who were wise then, I prostrate. With pure bodies, formed supremely pure, wisdom ocean like a golden mountain, fame that blazes in the 3 worlds, winner of the best, Lord, to you I prostrate. With the supreme signs, face like spotless moon, color like gold, to you I prostrate. Dust free like you, the 3 worlds are not, incomparably wise one, to you I prostrate. The Saviour having great compassion, the Founder having all understanding, the field of merit with qualities like a vast ocean, to you the one gone to thusness I prostrate. The purity that frees one from attachment, the virtue that frees one from the lower realms, the one path, the sublime reality, to the Dharma that pacifies I prostrate. Those who are liberated and who also show the path to liberation, the holy field qualified with realizations, who are devoted to the moral precepts, to you the sublime community intending virtue I prostrate. Homage to the Supreme Buddha, homage to the Dharma refuge, homage to the great Sangha, to all 3 ever devout homage, to all worthy of respect, bowing with bodies as many as all realms, atoms, in all aspects, with supreme faith I pay homage. Do not commit any non-virtuous actions. Perform only perfect virtuous actions. Subdue your mind thoroughly. This is the teaching of the Buddha. A star, a visual aberration, a flame of a lamp, an illusion, a drop of dew or a bubble, a dream, a flash of lightning, a cloud. See conditioned things as such. Through these merits may sentient beings attain the rank of all-seeing, subdue the foe of faults, and be delivered from samsara's ocean, perturbed by the waves of aging, sickness, and death. Page 15, The Heart of the Perfection of Wisdom Sutra. I prostrate to the Arya Triple Gem. Thus did I hear at one time. The Bhagavan was dwelling on massive Vulture's mountain in Rajagriha, together with a great community of monks and a great community of bodhisattvas. At that time, the Bhagavan was absorbed in the concentration on the categories of phenomena called profound perfection. Also at that time, the Bodhisattva Mahasattva Arya Avalokiteshvara looked upon the very practice of the profound perfection of wisdom, and beheld those 5 aggregates also as empty of inherent nature. Then, through the power of Buddha, the Venerable Shariputra said this to the Bodhisattva Mahasattva Arya Avalokiteshvara. How should any son of the lineage train who wishes to practice the activity of the profound perfection of wisdom? He said that, and the Bodhisattva Mahasattva Arya Avalokiteshvara said this to the Venerable Shariputra. Shariputra, any son of the lineage or daughter of the lineage who wishes to practice the activity of the profound perfection of wisdom, should look upon it like this, correctly and repeatedly beholding those 5 aggregates also as empty of inherent nature. Form is empty, emptiness is form. Emptiness is not other than form. Form is also not other than emptiness. In the same way, feeling, discrimination, compositional factors, and consciousness are empty. Shariputra, likewise, all phenomena are emptiness, without characteristic, unproduced, unceased, stainless, not without stain, not deficient, not fulfilled. Shariputra, therefore, in emptiness there is no form, no feeling, no discrimination, no compositional factors, no consciousness, no eye, no ear, no nose, no tongue, no body, no mind, no visual form, no sound, no odor, no taste, no object of touch, and no phenomenon. There is no I element, and so on, up to and including no mind element, and no mental consciousness element. There is no ignorance, no extinction of ignorance, and so on, up to and including no aging and death, and no extinction of aging and death. Similarly, there is no suffering, origination, cessation, and path. There is no exalted wisdom, no attainment, and also no non-attainment. Shariputra, therefore, because there is no attainment, Bodhisattvas rely on and dwell in the perfection of wisdom, the mind without obscuration and without fear. Having completely passed beyond error, they reach the end point of nirvana. All the Buddhas who dwell in the 3 times also manifestly completely awaken to unsurpassable, perfect, complete enlightenment in reliance on the perfection of wisdom. Therefore, the mantra of the perfection of wisdom, the mantra of great knowledge, the unsurpassed mantra, the mantra equal to the unequaled, the mantra that thoroughly pacifies all suffering, should be known as the truth since it is not false. The mantra of the perfection of wisdom is declared. Tayata gate gate paragate parasamgate bodhisoha. Shariputra, the Bodhisattva Mahasattva, should train in the profound perfection of wisdom like that. Then the Bhagavan arose from that concentration and commended the Bodhisattva Arya Avalokiteshvara, saying, well said, son of the lineage. It is like that, it is like that. One should practice the profound perfection of wisdom just as you have indicated. Even the Tathagatas rejoice. The Bhagavan having thus spoken, the Venerable Sharadvatiputra, the Bodhisattva Mahasattva Arya Avalokiteshvara, those surrounding in their entirety, along with the world of gods, humans, asuras, and Gandharvas, were overjoyed and highly praised that spoken by the Bhagavan. Page 25. Osashi Purki Jukshan Metor Chamri Rabling Shi Nite Gyan Padi Sangye Shingdu Mite Ulwa Yidro Kunamdak Shingla Chupasho Jetsun Lama Dampakenam Kichakukala Kyense Chinjigne Jita Sampe Duchesinma Lazat Gechuki Chapababtu So Idam Guru Ratna Mandalakam Niryatayami. Sudan Soki Chanam La Jengchup. Dāgē chūjīn jībē sōnām jī, dōlā bēnjī sānjī dōbarā. Sānjī chūdān sājī chūdān lā, chānchū bādā dāni kyāsam. Dāgē chūjīn jībē sōnām jī, dōlā bēnjī sānjī dōbarā.
Sanje Jala Zaji Jana Chanjo Bado Dani Jasamchi Taki Chujin Jive Sonam Je Dola Benji Sanje Dubara Sho Kanga de Zenye Zame Dao Danje Bawani Damejini Denzewe Kudam de la Chazela Tunye Nyenje Zande Jove La Jije Zekanche Denjo Chanabe Modi de Jazala Sawa de Zashin de Lundoshi Wanda la mora moje daga ningar be me de jene gadi jimbe gone je sonde gozando je ngudu de do so na dan do kulon gom de step as.
So we'll start off with a motivation meditation.
Ay ta gawa gum. Ta dirin yan ja den de jig lob jon chi chung wa di. Gawa pe kyo sang bu yin chen wa.
So now rejoice, feel, recognize how wonderful it is, opportunity to receive these teachings and study this text.
아야, 다들이 먼저 겨와 쉐우스로 겨와세야 되다 딜라고 그래. 추 간실라니 시드미시비 추로 시드미 빼나 아니 매당 추로 되로 고추 다데로 매당 추 신두잉이 요마로 딜라 겨와라고 겨와 다디 시기요 레스트와.
So we're on page 174, explaining contradictions, and as it says here, the definition of contradictory is distinct phenomena with no possible common locus between them. So there's this emphasis on it has to be phenomena, like it has to be existence. So example of this would be fire and water. Fire and water are both distinct phenomena, and there's nothing which can be both. So or no common locus of these two.
제단다 디 친이 샤난 리그 타데 징 시드미시비 추 기베 친이 ngo보인랍도 ngo보다 친이 단다갑디 친이 차단 리그 타데 징 시드 베나 메다 추니 타데로 니 시드미시바 스드 메인게 추인게지 이로 시기요 말아 제단 타데 징 시드미시비 추스 어디라고요.
So if we look at it in terms of the essence, which is phenomena with no common locus, or the exact definition, you can say distinct phenomena with no possible common locus between them. The essential meaning is the same. So, with this fire and water, there's the distinct phenomena, and there's nothing which is both.
제가 다디 예와샤윤두 예와들라 니시로 텐지미네게랑 핀주방가르스 예와니다 겨와디 먼저 단다 시고야 돼. 개점부 시고 제명 먼저 나 요다 로 미디 타질을 통한다 되는 거들래. 다추기 냠렌치 되장걸라 둑조 카레 가조 카레라. 수수 둑고야 카레도 가고야 카레도 디 둑조 단가조 뇌자도 뇌지 시든 수수 규르지 님도 용고도 가가루고도 다 두서 신야라. 편도 좀 주제 여러.
Okay. So this is when we look at the divisions of the contradiction, then there's two. There's contradictory due to incompatibility and contradictory through to mutual exclusion. Now it's very important to know this, not just merely from a study perspective, but from a practice perspective, because later when you're meditating and you're looking at established phenomena and negated phenomena, when it says here negation and affirmation as it's translated in the book, this is very important to understand this. Right? It's very helpful and useful to understand this.
아디나라 디 마쿵셰도 하는데 디 겨와디 용서디 루벤 까말라실라 별레 페라 샨디라시다 기두와 루벤 까말라실라 별레 페라 우만나와레스라 대다라스라 ngo원남 겨와니 넘버 2스라 겨와딜라 넘버 2요레스 이샤데스 텐지미네게 진이당 핀즈방게 진이도 스타디 디셰르 가서 쿵도 디셰르로.
So what's the kind of scriptural reference or the source for this establishing these two types of contradictory phenomena? Well, it comes from Karma Lakshira's Light of the Middle Way. Now, Karma Lakshira called Gagala. So he was born in India, but he was one of the Indian Panditas that went to Tibet. And his text, this Light of the Middle Way, explains this clearly, where it says, thus, contradiction among things is to be posited as being of two types. Those characterized as incompatible through not abiding together, and those categorized as mutually exclusive through eliminating each other. So that's this like scriptural reference of the source for all this other explanation.
다들 마 타제로 다 예와 근데 요레스 다디 마 ton다로 마 제로 데스 마 띵사브로 스토리나 우마나월레스 텔라 주나 주마 상와메와 칸식스로 칸예베 네버메와 티니니 에네 니라스로 겨와 당보레스티 겨와 당분나 마샤데스 페나 타와당 차와도 페나 제가 델라 주마 상와메와 칸식스라디 주마 상와메와 차와당 아니 차외 주마 상와메와 타외 주마 상와메와 두차레스 이나양 아니 차와당 타와님도 용신해야 된다기 규직 요 말했을 거라. 디 차와레 디 타와레스야기 아니 규 된대지 툭툭툭요 말해. 인자 비니 개외 오버샤가 요레스죠.
So this is the brief, like the kind of scripture reference. If we go into a bit deeper in what it means, it goes on to look at different types of phenomena. So if we look at hot and cold, which is often, an example of this contradictory phenomena, we can see that, of course, there's nothing which has this both, the continuum of both hot and cold. These continuums don't exist simultaneously, but it goes beyond that in saying that there's no one cause that can establish both hot and cold. So for this reason, from a causal perspective as well, there's nothing which you can establish both hot and cold. So therefore, from this perspective, that is said to be contradictory as well.
Yes, that is nöja gyuma samame gyuwe nöje topdan demba. Ani dembe gyume war chewasba. Ba bena tarik top chemboyina ani tarik di nöjere ro. Tarik di nöjarwa.
Okay.
So nöja delaya ani ko gyuma samame yinza nöje tomden yudu kogi gyundela. Ani nödugo yor kunil henjik netugo yo mares 차와당 당문이 아니 reg자디 henjik 도토고 요 마res로 어디시고 그러다. henjik도 내면 henjik 미네가스 라우라 henjik도 미네. 근데 측디 야와샬 henjik 미네게라서 henjik 타웨 reg자 요새들 차웨 reg자 돔데 차원데 당화 파지 당화지 어두스 단도레스 다마 젤레데셰 띵사브사로 도레라.
So again, going into this, looking at it a bit further, taking again the example of hot and cold, not only do they not abide together, there's nothing which is both, they directly, it's literally to harm or you could say destroy each other, because if it's extremely cold, if you're in an extremely cold place or there's an extremely cold situation, then the possibility of heat arising is not there so long as that cold is there. This kind of blocks the heat from arising or harms the heat. So then it said that because of this, they are incompatible. So this incompatibly means there's nothing which can be compatible as both. There's nothing which is suitable to be both, maybe is a better way to say it. This is the meaning of this incompatibility, like they directly harm each other.
다디 알힌지미네가지 다 핀지방게 리셰고요랑 우마나베 나로 양 디니레스 양 사데다 디니레스 우마나올레쇼 아니 칸라 칸시 용스 쮸베 넘버 제와 메나 메바 디니 텔라 게와니 넘버 샤데스 칸라 칸시 용스 쮸바스데 베나 시베나 다 최진 딜라와직 딜 ngogo 탭다와직 띵라로
오케이
오네 탭디 띵라스 아니 ngobo야 조용데 ngo메데 파케도 그래서 용주스나 핀주 방게서 핀주 방게서도 탭지 띵도 탭 ngo보 임바데 조용데 아니 탭고 많이 바데 파방도 그래서 대단한데 니버드 시고다 빈주 방개기 중진지 시고요라 가서 대구 땡도 ngobo yimba su du yen de ngo ma yimba de namba che du yo yinza ane de la ya pangge se de do res chojin chik la sa chi ja ngobo yoba da mewa ta bu se na pe na ngonge pinju pangge ne be sini ge wa jin pe na 대구 땡도 ngobo ya du yen de ngome ba ke ko ra di 어디 시고 다 빈주 pangge la
So Dishilok di
로 단다 당겨 오다 그래도
dire.
양 디니레스도
Okay, so then moving on to this verse, when the positive determination of one is not possible without the exclusion of other, then two things are posited as the second type of contradiction. Yeah, with respect to one specific basis where one exists, the other does not exist. So what's being said here is if you take, for example, a book, and you talk about the functional nature of that book. So it's a well, literally the translation for novel is thing, but it means that it's a functional thing. So it automatically, when you establish this functional nature of book, it automatically establishes contradicts the non-thingness or the non-functional nature of book automatically, like without having to establish it. So through one subject, say the functional nature of book, it automatically blocks out the non-functional nature of the book without having to, explicitly express that. It establishes it, and this is this example of this, the incompatibility between the functional nature of book and the non-functional nature of book.
다디 쿵로 직셰로 다디마 디셰 때 스팅 sabro 시켜고요. 디셰 직겨면도 탭디날 갈로서는 당보 렌지 미네게 니스라로다. 렌지 미네게 세디 아니 베나 차와다 타와니 아니 시직르네 두고 말해서 직디 프로자 다마 띵 sabro 데스 도웨이나 달 렌지 미네게 세디 아니 누버 충배권에다 현직도 도움을 ngobol 차그래서 누버충마 맨날 차회 누버여바당 차회 누버여바더니 누버충 그니 맨날 다릭도 첨보지나 델라 다릭도 첨보 내두고 말했어 다릭도 첨보에나 다릭도 첨보네 누버충배권에 누버충 봐서 누버충배권에 현직도 도움을 왜 ngobol라 샤르 맨날 사단이 있다고서 사단이 있다고디 거지 현직도 미네버 레스로 어디 that ma things of this goes on things of goes on.
Okay, so we're going to explain it a bit further, right? This is the basic meaning, but looking at this phenomena in the example of hot and cold again. So yeah, we've already expressed that it cannot abide in one place. So that's already been said. Like hot and cold cannot simultaneously abide in the same place. But the power of these hot and cold is in conflict, because the power of hot, if there's a strong heat, then that means that there cannot be a strong cold in the same time in the same place, and vice versa. If there's a strong cold, this power stops the power of that cold stops the heat from arising. So this kind of contradictory power is this meaning behind this incompatibility.
당 렌지메네들라 ngos 렌지미네가 다 주네 렌지미네가 니샤로 베나 차릭도 첨보다 차릭도 첨보디니 다 ngos 렌지미네가로 차릭도 첨보 예스데 차릭도 첨보 내두고 말아와 디데 ngos 렌지미네 내두고 면도와 디 ngos 렌지미네가 해체.
So when we talk about this, we can talk about it directly and indirectly, right? So hot and cold are directly contradictory, you could say. They directly contradict each other.
다 주네들라 베나 먼저 두와 탁도 주와 두와 숙천보지 여베이나 대당 자링이 윤에 현직면에서 윤에 로 두와 탁도 주와 여베들라 아니 시들라 다 다리 내미도와디 윤에달 현직면에가서 가래서는 다 두와 탁도 주와지 여나 델라 메톱 첨보지 용거로 메톱 첨보 여나 델라 차릭톱 첨보 용거로 차릭톱 첨보 여나 데 다리도 첨보 내 두고 말아 어디 다 균에 현직민에게 잘했어. 대셔서 두어 터도 주어도 차리 라고서 너미는 양선 균에 너가 인라서 그냥 간라 두어 터도 주어요. 들을 매여가서 매 차리 근거에서 세요. 누가 두어디 당 현직도 민에게 이노스라가 하더다.
So then when we talk about this contradiction through this incompatibility, it can be done directly and indirectly, as we've said. So this an example of the indirectly establishing this incompatibility would be smoke and cold. Now, why is it said that smoke is indirectly incompatible with this cold? Well, because the cause of smoke is said to be fire, and when there's fire, then naturally there's heat, and when there's heat, then that means there's no cold. So you couldn't say directly is incompatible, but it's indirectly incompatible. Smoke is indirectly incompatible with this heat.
다들 대체 마야데스 다야 대체 띵사브로지 대체 마 띵사브로지 도인도 가르스나 원하는 것은 너제너제스 규규되다 베나 차와당 차릭당 아니 차릭당 차릭데 칸라 조시나서 다 군이 것은 너제너제레라와 근데 다 가와샤 그래 다 간데질 샤온 거래 라이언데 다 차릭 차외 깨직 차시에서 때문에 아니 자진이 차릭 직제로 그 차시에 다 차와 춘주 야선에는 차릭도 전부 차라다 간다 이 자진 차가 제가 차릭 깨직 차두면 되베 자진 차릭당 다리 깨직 두마 차시에서 때문에 자진 아니 다리니 것이 예전에 송브레스타 건 단다디 로벤 최저기 릭티기 나라다 공된데 셰르데 가르서는 아마야 띵서로 로선 너제너제세데 차릭당 다리니 너제너제 가르서는 차릭 깨직 두마 차시에서 때문에 차진 차릭 직제로 되게 아니 다리 깨직 두마 차시에서 때문에 차진이 다 본인 것을 내도고요. 그래서 어디시고 그랬다. 아마 띵서로 로선하다. 단대 오다.
So then, if we read this last paragraph on the page, where it explains exactly how it does it. So, reading in the question, exactly in what way do the contact of hot and cold directly as an agent that harms the object harmed for each other? It is stated that the heat that possesses numerous temporal moments and the cold that possesses numerous temporal moments are mutually and directly as the agent that harms the object harmed. For example, then it goes on to the verse. But basically, it's saying that the aspects that, or the parts that make up cold or hot directly harm the opposite, the parts of the cold or hot. So, the cold might start off as small, or the heat might start off as small and grow and grow and grow. And as this power or this aspects accumulate, then it becomes it directly harms the opposite, the aspects of the cold.
아데데 콩셰르 로벤 쇼조기 네릭디기 자진도 레스타디 콩디셰 다시 뭐지 콩디셰 뭐지 다딜라 나무니로 나와다 문바니 너저니지 인도당 로 나가서 나와다 문바세고라 왜 나와스디 왜지 문바스디 나공디셰 디니 너저니지 인도당 차와당 장원이 너저니지 디니데스 dag 말해서 그니다 현지 민내가래 너저니지레 이내양 그니 단다데 데스 dag 말해서
Okay, so then it goes on for the verse, but that's already been explained, so we don't need to go over it. So the next example in the next paragraph talks about light and darkness. Now, these are also directly contradictory through being incompatible. However, just like hot and cold air, however, there is a little bit of difference, or there is some difference between this. It's not quite exactly the same. We close that.
다 제와 가려요래 라윤데 너무니로와 나와다 문바니는 참바이나스로와 나와다 문바니는 참나 나와 제와다 문바가와 튜냐베고네 너저니지 규거레스 나와 지다 나와다 나와시도 외셔와 님의 외다 단다
okay,
되다
so dula kipayure.
나 튜정
No.
튜냐베고네 찍용다 찍가로 거니
Lasso, right.
나와제와다 문바가오 튜냐 문바제와다 나와가오 튜냐 대단 거니 두세 시티를 나와제와랑 원데 초과다 네 랑게 세제 문바가오랑 원데 초과 튜냐 시티 나와제와다 아니 랑게 세제 문바 주인가와 튜냐 임베고네 디니 유뉴가 성진디 니 시지라 토미롱에 레스테다 지라마디 세부도 하든
Okay. So I'll read the paragraph in a sec, but basically the essential difference between the light and dark is that it's a simultaneous change. There's no time difference. So immediately when there's light, the darkness is eradicated, and vice versa, right? So it's the simultaneously effect. And if I read the paragraph, it goes in the way in which the pair light and darkness and the pair hot and cold act as agents that harm the objects are harmed is different. If we take the example of light and darkness, then each acts as the agent that harms and the object harms, since the production of light and the cessation of darkness are simultaneously. And that is because at a specific place, the production of light as a manifest state and the cessation of darkness that eliminates light as a manifest state are simultaneous. Also.
다 사단이 되면 전화선다 대세 당기 직겨져서 텔레마 띵사로 두고다야 사단이 되면은 차리게 다리라 뇌에 뇌전도 도두 니스라다 뒤즈디 가데레스는데 아니 뉴나 깨징마 숨나라 따라와 뒤즈를 샤베이나다 아니 당기디 뒤즈 찍을 차로다 나오면 바디 고찍 용어 찍가로다 다단다디 차리 다리니디 깨징마 숨근나라야다 가로고요 레스 그래서나 아니 깨징만 당보들라 사단이 수태와 깨징이와들라 아니 가르톱쳐와이나 디파 뉴어메와차 깨징 숨바들라 디 윤제와 다 양자라 제메와스 제단 딘데게 전에 깨징 숨그 전에 아니 뇌제디 주주 사단이
somebody 그래
그 윤독 양자다 윤독보다 고 양자 변나 차릭톱 전부에는 다리 양자야 말다고 차릭톱 전부 차대라 당보디 태 니버디 아니 누워메와다 차릭톱 전부 차디 차릭들 누워메와체 숨바디 차릭디 양자 톱 쳐를 되메와서 다 간다 윤독 봤을 때다고 차릭이 윤독 봤을 때다 차릭 양자 야 윤이와 영야메와서 샤윈자 아니 되게 계속 숨근나라다 뇌전 두고요 레스다 마 띵사로 두고다
Okay. So contradictory if we take the example of hot and cold. When a hot sensation, I'm just reading from the book here, when the hot sensation encounters a cold sensation, the object harmed by it, it counters it rapidly in the third moment. In the first moment, both hot and cold make contact. In the second moment, the potency of the coldness declines. And in the third moment, the continuum of the coldness is stopped. So this hot and cold does that in these three moments, right? As opposed to light and dark, which happens simultaneously. There's three moments when the hot and cold, whichever stronger, eliminates the other one. So as the book says, in the first moment, they meet. In the second moment, it essentially cuts the power or the potency, as it said here. And in the third moment, it stops the continuum, which means that whichever one is cut, either the hot or the cold, can't re-establish itself. So it's the continuum is ceased.
아디 뒤즈 통해 온데 제가로 뒤즈 링어 전나다 아니 니마로 다와 취즈 된데 고르고
Okay. So this can happen in a very short amount of time, or it can happen in a very long period of time, like days, weeks, months, and so forth. So this moment in this is not the same as all moments.
시제의 로면 쇼조기 참만남이 참만남이 뜻이 텐덴스야디나라다 콩디셰도 대나 관시 관계 도벌체와 임바티니 대리니 계징만 숨바디 도바셰도 스타디 단디디 콩들이 계징만 숨르와레스 계징 콩체.
So then looking at Dhammamatara's explanation of the assertion of valid cognition, that's the scriptural reference, it states there, therefore with respect to that which removes the other, its opposite, it is done rapidly, the other will be eliminated by the third moment. So that's the scriptural reference for this explanation.
다던데 게징만 사야 되는 거 키싱 거 게징만라 도임바
Right.
투데 게징만 하지 투데 게징만 사야 돼다 투기 타도 거와 투데 란도에 게지 튜니와 미디어바디 투데 게징만 하지
Right.
다디네 게징만들라 자조 게징만 사야 돼 자조 게징만 사야 될라다 로망조 베나 로직라 자조직 다와직라 자조직 둔다직라 자조직 자와직 고자만에 자와직 슈마디오라 추즈직라 자조 나도 까마직라 네 세겐직 근데마 다 자조 통다데 아니 상대 되면 상대 데마샤와데 디아 란도지도 다 자조 통다 데제라 아니 두데게 좀 자로요라 단대값디 자조게 좀 말해 두데게 좀 말해서 어디샤고 왔다
Okay, so as it says in the text, this moment is not necessarily the shortest moment, but it's rather a composition of moments. So we discussed previously about this moment, which is said to be the shortest moment, this very short period of time. However, in this moment here is not necessarily that moment. It actually can be said to be a composition of these smaller moments. And when these are compounded, they can form larger periods of time, obviously, like days, weeks, months, and so forth. So this moment that it refers to here is this compositional moment. Does he say here? Okay. Is composed of many such shortest moments of time. So yeah, you could say there's the shortest moment and then there's these compositional moments.
다 자조 써야 돼. 자와 써야 돼. 거 내가 네 고축번에 슈구마 리서와 자와직 샤고라.
Okay.
말한저 진짜 당기 진짜 추주 dum반에 고주네 예드 셰가사고 자조직래. 자조직.
Okay.
디 어디난 시래. 뭐 단다디 제zan코 태와디 자와직체. 네 단다디 계징만 자조 계징만 숨고 나간 저러고 요라. 딜라시 코나다다다 코.
So when we talk about this compositional moment, it's the amount of time it takes for the activity to be accomplished, right? So we could say this class would be from 7:30 to 8:30, right? That's from when the start to the finish is from 7. Sorry, did I say 7:30? 7 to 8:30, right? So that's the compositional moment for this class. So that's why there's said to be 3 compositional moments. There's the moment of meeting, and then there's the moment of one overpowering, and then the moment of cutting the continuum. So each of those compositional moments, an activity is completed.
냠샤라 계제 딜리그로 어디 자좀 계징 세트. 방언저 변나 동반이라 파 냠바샤. 아니 주마단사고 자와지로. 자와지로. 다 딜라 가시 동반이로 곰자디 야면나 띵인진 곰자.
네네.
곰파자 미국법수 마요서와 다 가시 까마지 가시 주지 주대 자와지로. 다 데마마마 통로데 곰자디 곰을 돈이나 곰 야바다가 파잡 야당 된데 지도고 요사 사투베 내가라네 돈이라 파냠바 샤바당 야당 인가 뒤즈직나라 지도고 요라 자족게지 다 돈이라 제창라 어디 단다 자족게지 마사데 일라 람곰디우기 계자망불리 그러대
Okay. So the satrukpala the duchikpala
뒤즈 곰파 베나가서 상달래져라. 디마샤오데 디알랑도.
Right.
곰 뚱니를 파냠바 샤고다 수 다원이가 지도고 뒤즈직나. 다 자조 계진 통다데래.
Okay. So this idea of this compositional moments becomes very important when we're explaining like the meditations on emptiness, particularly further along when you talk about the Bodhisattva bhumis. So normally we'd say a meditation session is from when you go in. So for example, on emptiness, from when you go into the meditation, almost like when you sit down to when you come out. So when you go into the meditation to when you come out of the meditation, right? Now at the certain point of this understanding from the 6th bhumi, then in one time they can go in and out of the meditation. Right, and at one time. So kechik dijigire?
자조 깨지 뭐지? 자조 깨지
Oh,
통대.
okay. In one compositional moment, they could go in and out of the meditation.
그거 자와지 고잠바다 죽두버 두냐로 와 디샤고. 자와지 고잠바네 죽두버 두냐로 와. 자조 찍서다 자와 고죽바당 자족색다. 자와지 고잠바당 죽조버 두냐로 와.
So the time that it's initiated to the time it's completed is said to be one compositional moment.
다들 띵인들은 곰 잡는 곰나 어딘데 연구여러. 다단다 제 먼저 당보 일레 먼저다 단다레 미고 코라니 두고요 말아 유 일로디기 미고 코라니 두고요 말아 가 딥데직 정말 요로레레 디두다 단다요 말아.
So this, of course, is for, when you have levels of concentration, like deeper levels of concentration. For us, we can't even hold on to an object at all, right? Like even that is beyond us. So this is not an ordinary type of meditation.
먼저 쌤디 따사게 디 자고요 말이야. 가와로 저러. 쌤디 가서 그걸 유도거라. 신의 곰 미고라 되네. 탁버 따서라라.
Okay.
갈래로 고말레용 거라.
So for us, when we say, okay, so let's say this is the focal point of our meditation, actually our mind goes everywhere around it except on the object, right? However, once you have concentration or levels of concentration, then the mind, like karma abiding, and then the mind actually almost like locks onto the object or abides on the object, and then you can go deeper and deeper into the understanding.
네. 다디다 당 나란도 되지다 곰치 곰망고 제거여라. 이나야 디 심육차지와 말은 당고마 로뉴슈 로숨주 롱압주 콘라. 수수심디 간데미 상다나 아니 데데달레 곰 자야파시 둑스코나 조조치 데라 깔레여라. 다단다 조조지 주주징이 데도고도 아니 다 곰미관 네그도 네그문둘라지 싱기도 하도 상마 열제야 건 심식 차냐가 심식 데스 빠르나메제.
Okay, so this obviously this meditation is not easy and it might be a bit off-putting, but you need to have a kind of like strength of mind or like a willpower, yeah. You need to have this willpower to be able to achieve it. So, it could if you can see over time, maybe it's 20, 30, 50 years, your mind can gradually improve, right? And even the fact that if you're able to sit for a session, 1 or 2 hours, even your mind might not be focused on the object, at least you're becoming aware of that. You're becoming aware of the mind and what it's actually doing. And this in itself is a big improvement.
어디래요 상상은 하면서 당 전환도 상모 간된 지고요래 럽전 지고요라 다당 답깔레 점나 열제로 드에민도 상상은 심죽차로다 된데가돌라 어디 상당으로 뭐마 배낭아 대상은 야말로 말로 좁게 중앙 주둑예라 삼로디 나든데 두소 대토마 이 대ව다야 파녀로네 야니가 빠게 지소소 대라라 배 나그도라
You could only look at the caps.
근데 대토고요 말아. 아니 나게 네 빈자지 하고 자와요라. 근데 대그러 저서 다들가 그뒤 대토 그래라. 다탄데 저서도 대토고다 봐. 진짜 지금이 저서 대를 강에면도 심데 저서 대우는 수보다 저서 대그다.
So we should have this kind of willpower. Like if we might feel that we're studying and working and trying to meditate, but there's not improving, right? But there is improvement, and if we have this willpower, this determination, then we can definitely develop further and further. So myself, for example, when I was 18, I couldn't even sit still, right? My body would get sore and I'd fidget and move around, right? And like my father would sometimes go, "What are you doing?" And I'd be going, "Oh, it's sore, I can't sit still," right? And my relative of mine could sit very still, and I sort of would think at that age, "Oh, how is it possible to sit so still?" But nowadays I've got improved because I can sit still. I can't say much about what my mind's doing, but definitely I can sit still.
At that time, very funny, and he's all the time sit there, my father, my mother give this pillow, pillow give him, and I want like that. They never give me, I want pillow like that. I want like that. They never give me. They give it my uncle, and he never using. He just I throw it. I take with him back. Especially happy New Year time. We morning need to stand up wearing new clothes, and everyone need to sit there, sit there, and then I do like that, like that. Father says, stand up. Also, my younger brother exactly the same. And sometimes we are sharing each other. 제가 대대 단다도 대도더라. 이게 프로브레다.
So yeah, it proves it. Now I can sit comfortably.
어디지? 달린지면 내가 얘나 숙수교회 hinjimen 내가 난 셔워교회 hinjimen 내가 니요 샤도.
Okay, so now, furthermore, when contradiction through incompatibility is differentiated, there are two types: contradictory material forms and contradictory cognizers. So contradictory material forms that are incompatible and contrary cognizers that are incompatible.
대도와 대간 세우다. 당보디 사람이다 왜나 나와도 못 받다 왜서 아도도 수수기에 hinjimen 내가 당이 제세 도사송아.
Right.
이번에 시당당 참반이다 그래. 셔워교회.
So examples of the first include hot and cold or light and darkness. This is the first one related to form, and we've already explained those. So now this example of the second, the one related to cognitions or minds, is love and hatred.
세상당도 다 셔워교회들 사무대 땅으로와. 뒤중앙도 베제나락도 시당이 뭐 잠바 검색도. 다디 따다리고 시당 먼저 님보 검인데 콘로 축전보이나 잠바 검색도. 다디 내가 들리고라. 가래라나 먼저 셈나는 시당 콘로요나 미들 콘로사나 미들 잠발레 두고 말아. 그래서 미들 잠바 검사서나 미들 콘로레 두고 말아. 다 다가나래. 그래서 셈디나라 군인님도 심직을 용두고요 말아. 제가 군인 hinjimen 내가 차르고다다.
Okay. So if it is impossible that two things abide together, it is not necessarily the case. Oh no, that's moving on. So when we talk about this hatred and this love as being contradictory, it's contradictory in the sense that they cannot exist at the same time within the mind stream, right? And this is why if somebody has problems with hatred, then the advice, the antidote to that is meditation on love. Because if somebody has strong hatred in their mind, then they're not able at that time to have love. And so, however, if they develop and meditate and they develop this love, then that means that the hatred, while that love is present, the hatred cannot arise because they cannot exist simultaneously.
세상다 되게 먼저 참바 공부, 닝지 검사데 다 지금 몇 번째 되면 수수 셈디 딩오를 제디 디리 검단 디리다. 나 참바 검색도 와. 참바 검색도 수수 셈디 참병 오를 제도 제고 여러와. 디제도나 아니 시단도서요 말에. 뒤중 언제 참바 공부요라 밀로 콘도사거다. 뒤뒤 참바 검토요 말에. 참바 검토요 말에. 참바를 가오체. 참바를 검토요 말에.
근데 미 콘도사는데
먼저 참 미지 다 참바 검라. 이너 콘도사거다.
okay.
이네 제가 나 미들 참바 검는 나 콘도사거도 참바 검해야 돼. 탑란하고 민들 나거다. 제가서는 콘 참바 검고요 말에.
Yeah.
그런 참발 가오체 이러면 참바 검이요 말다 간다.
Right.
참바 검이나 시다요 도사요 말다.
So this, as most you probably know, this word gom, which is translated as meditation, means literally to familiarize. So when we talk about this meditation or familiarization of the self with love, it means to actually produce the nature of love within the mind stream, right? So when one's familiarized ourselves, they've produced the essence or the nature of this. So if somebody is angry and they're told to meditate on love, at that time, they're not actually producing this love, or they're not fully familiarized with this love. They can generate something similar or something like that, but it's not the actual nature of it, because if there was the nature of that love produced, then this anger would not be able to arise, or this hatred, sorry, would not be able to arise at that time.
I met some people here, 2 or 3 people, and then they said, I don't like some people, see or hear, thinking and become angry, and I told them, you can do live meditation, right?
Mm-hmm.
And a few weeks later, oh, Keshila, your method doesn't work because I visualizing this person, I become more angry. your love methods doesn't work, they said. Funny, these 3 people have experienced here. And then I check, oh, yeah, this is not really good, understand how to meditation, love, And then I thought, maybe you can do equanimity practice, equanimity, right?
Equanimity, yeah.
And then later I said, oh, this is working. This is working. 그래서 먼저 참바다 닝지 곰 써야 돼. 개심 보셔라. 참바다 닝지 곰 써야 돼. 미다고 곰 써야 돼. 동반이 곰 써야 돼. 그래서 로커랑 수수로디 깨고요라. 로디 댕오를 깨톰나 안당원에 진단 유치는 곰제들 봐. 안당원도 지준조마다 근데 공부도 디 몇바체는 곰제로 왔대. 뒤에 곰 디나시자고 참바 몇바체 곰 동반이 몇바체 되게 간절라 시다게 초대도야 말해. 그래서 디 띵가서 망고지 미스틱 지고 왔다대.
So when we talk about this familiarization or meditation on love and compassion, this is actually an incredibly vast thing that we're doing here. Impermanence, it's the same. If we've actually fully done this, then we've actually produced this. We've produced this in our mind. It's a transformation of the mind. It then becomes an object of apprehension, right? At this point. However, at the moment, it's kind of like when we meditate. So, for example, if we meditate on a deity like Tara, it's on an aspirational level, right? And it's the same for us when we're meditating now on these love and compassion and so forth. We're doing this on this aspirational level, not on this level of actual apprehension.
세상대로 다디지. 다딜라딜라도 도바직제다. 디 슬랍션은 인ጆ 시런 스탁스단이 주던으로. 현직도 내 미시나 현직민에게 용말에스로. 베나 사변다 디 데부 뉴니 데베데. 군이 현직도 내요 말 규단되로 아줄레로. 나 군이 현직민에게 말에스. 김제 가르스나. 군이 내전내제 말에스. 외제도제 마인데 그니 펜도제도지 인베실 균제 인베실 세거도.
So it goes on then in the text. Now, so why we're going is a little bit deeper, and this might get you a bit tuned up and get you debating, which could be good or maybe not. Who knows? Okay, so it goes on the text to say, if it is impossible that two things abide together, it is not necessarily the case that they are contradictory through incompatibility. For example, it is impossible for both the seed and the sprout, the seed and the sprout, which is its effect, to abide together, since they are cause and effect. They are not contradictory through being compatible, since the two exist in relation of the agent that benefits and the object that is benefited, not the agent that harms and the object that is harmed. So it's a kind of a long-winded way of saying that although these two things are contradictory, they can't be said to be contradictory on the basis of incompatibility, because they don't harm each other. And essentially, because they're cause and effect, they are said to benefit each other. So they're still contradictory because they can't exist at the same time in the same place, but they can't be said to be harming each other. So this is why they can't be contradictory on the basis of
군이
incompatibility.
펜도지도 제로.
Yeah,
펜도지도 펜토고라 군이.
Because they benefit each. Well, the benefit is there. The cause benefits the effect.
어디래. 다드네 데 니리나 데 람조스도 람조 페나 니메진 거를 뭔가 차베지 스문베네메도 oswa. 니메진 거를 니마야 샤요인데 아니 뭔가 대도 말했어. 제가 군이 현지면 내가 레스. 지나 나무니 아니 현지면 내가 세워송.
Oh, Dishalaka Dishalaka.
니리나라도 니리 도나라.
So then, from the sutra, this example comes from the 25,000 verses Perfection of Wisdom Sutra. It says, Subhurti, it is like this. When the sun shines, no possibility remains for darkness to exist. So it's saying here that this pair, light and darkness, they are contradictory through incompatibility because they directly eliminate each other.
어디래. 다드네 현지 민네가서 로라샤단도 베나 다메도 왜 셔라당 당지도 현지도 민네.
Okay.
미다고도 왜 셔라당 당지도 현지도 민네. 어도도 다 마월라 셰기니 성도.
Kondadi mitakwe?
미다고도 왜 셔라당 당지
Oh, okay, sorry. Yeah.
근데 다메도 왜 셔라당 당지도 현지도 내도 와 말와. 어도도 다 로라샤네 코.
Tangzin and Tangzin. Okay. So when we talk about this from another perspective, you could say that the wisdom that realizes selflessness directly harms the self-grasping. And the understanding of impermanence, the wisdom realizing impermanence, directly harms the grasping at permanence. So this is contradictions. These are said to be contradictory through incompatibility.
단유와 방게 달린지 미네가 두베체로 다 방게 핀즈 방게니 있어도 핀즈 방게니 있어 로유디 시디 임버 용스 좀나 아니 지슈디 임버 넘버 쪼고 페나 요바다 메바스 페나 탭디 요바 두 용디 로딩올라 탭디 메바 케고로 탭디 메바 케볼 때네 탭디 요바 투라다 간다로
Okay.
세상 어디래? 로디 유라 캐단데 셰라. 방게사데 핀즈 방게라.
Yeah. So with regards to contradiction through incompatibility, when a specific basis is established as an object So with regards to contradiction through incompatibility, when a specific basis is fully established as an object of cognition, its opposite is necessarily excluded. For example, existence and non-existence, permanence and impermanence, produced and not produced, one and many, vars and non-vars, and fire existing and fire not existing. So the example is pretty clear, but if you have, say, a book exists, it automatically eliminates the non-existence of book, and vice versa. So this would be, and the same with fire and not fire, and so forth. So this is an example of this.
다디나지 딱와라 미다와 탭디 미다와 투인데 탭디 딱와 임바 캐고고요라.
Right.
저 디지고라 탭디 요바 탭디 체바 임바 캐고도 탭디 마체와 임바 캐고도야.
Okay.
탭디 찍즈도 탭디 투마마 임바 캐고도야. 어디서 셰고다. 다도 로그 삼려나네. 로그 또다니 원에 셰고요라. 유디. 네 체주스로 레고다. 탭이 체주스로.
So it can be the same can be said with other aspects of a phenomena, right? Or like a thing. So for example, you say the impermanence of a book also automatically eliminates the permanence of book. The production of book eliminates the non-production of book, and so forth. So if you establish a characteristic of a thing, then it automatically can eliminate that non-characteristic of that thing. Does that make sense?
다 핀즈 방갈라 무스케와다 유네게와스 니샤로 무스케와데 오데도 와다 간 신지티로 뭐가지 아니 딱와다 미다와디니 무스케와데 그래서나 탭디 미다와 임바 조연도 대 딱와 임바 캐고 그래로 yana tepti kasi takwa yana tepti medakwa yinba ngo kekdo shego
Right.
lodi ngola namji yunju gun di tanda ngazo dame dang dangzi dang dame dang da dang duzure dame tu yunju dadro keko goda di la da pe kodan chenpo yor di shenpa yana jime dungni gomi yunju pendo pe chenpo yor di nenga di shenpa yana kyunanzo dungni gomi jani yana ane dungni ya gomi yunju pa kar keko godoro 동반 니시기도 가르치고 어디 시행으로 안디 다다 되는 다다
근데 탐번이 가리 깎으래.
동이 그 덴버도 가고로
오케이.
동반 니셔야 돼. 와 덴버도 요는 동반 니 차동 뭐라. 동반이 요도 덴버도 용식 뭐라. 다다다 그 파스키로도 어디리다.
So in this way you can have directly contradictory and indirectly establishing this contradictory nature. So directly establishing this contradictory is things like impermanence and permanence, right? Because as soon as you understand something to be impermanent, then it immediately is understood that it's not permanent, right? That's directly established. It's the same when you say something being selfless. It means that this possessing self or the self is immediately eliminated. The same when you talk about emptiness, right? This emptiness immediately eliminates this true existence. So it's important to understand how this direct contradiction can be established, right? And what sort of emptiness is directly contradicting and so forth.
다 중계들라 주네 개와들라 디나라 까워도 분바샤도와 당에 딜라 샤샤나 탭당 탭데르와 탭당 포바니 샤샤위나 로 탭당 포바니 중계 샤샤위나 탭도 연두 탭 임바도 또라는데 탭 임바신로 탭 임바신도 탭 마임바도 캐버로 탭 마임바 캐사베 제라 아니 탭 마임바 포바 캐고보다 깨지 니바들 도고보다 카둑들 남사 먼저 탭 임바신보다 탭 마임바 포바 탭 마임바 추주 남산 신 도구면 하고 당부 대마인바 대시 대체수 대마인바 포와 대마인바 추주 대마인바 신사도 고 윤에 봐 로고도 깨진 이워지 로고도 유번 이워 로고도 어디서는 중계라고 한다. 고대는 고대.
So when we look at another example, and the example in the book is vase and pillar, which is
중계 윤회교.
Indirectly contradictory or indirectly established, not directly contradictory as it says in the book. So the example here is a vase and a pillar, right? It's a very common example in Tibetan, but we're going to use this example of the book and the cup. And the difference being here is when you recognize something as being a book, so establish that the book is, it immediately eliminates the non-book. So not book. So immediately that not book is eliminated. And then the next moment, indirectly, so there's a moment separation, then you can eliminate the cup not being book. So then you recognize the cup not being book, the pen eliminates the non-book cup, the non-book pen. The non-bookness of pen, or the non-book pen, I think would be a literal way to say it, right? So it means that it's the pen, it eliminates indirectly things like pen not being book, cup not being book, like that.
죄송합니다. 먼저 뒤로 단단 먼저 된데 데버면 이제 통구도 알아. 지금 막 올라가는데 고이 거로다. 단다디 뭐만 좀 된데 정보처 정보선데 사이로 이게 라오다가 미카식 남자 동문이 도르고 알아야지 각지래 들어 각지 각바로 각바 가르가고라서는 가져가는 거로 최단 동문이디 가서는 덴버도 가는 거로 네가 사야지 라오다가 시진 이게 정말이기도 사야지 라비온데 틱 라오다가라 동문이 도르고 다 먼저다 아그 탄다라 셔링 부여레 юм제딩도 좀 요레 다드네 고물로도게 리조트 요레 다드네 완데다오도 우마저고 요레 다 제르모체 이게 공부랍세다데 이게 더디게 요르딜레 탄다야고 고문도 하다 다디 가서는 먼저 셔럽 셔럽 교인 버디 땡겨다. 뭐마 셔러야고 얘나 칙칙라딘라 아니 코르고 참고로.
Previously. Okay. So, there's a lot of explanation here, and it may appear to be confusing, but it's only because maybe we're limited in our capacity to understand it, right? So, for example, that at the Buddha's time, Buddha could say just the syllable ah, and then immediately people would realize emptiness, right? Because, and the reason being said that this ah is said to be a word of negation. So what does it negate? By hearing this word ah, that negates true existence. However, we can't quite get it with the ah. So we have the ah, and it's like still don't get it. So then we have other things that we need to look at, like the Heart Sutra. Okay, still not quite getting it. So then we look at all Nagarjuna's text, and then Dharmakirti's, and then J. Rinpoche, Lama Tsongkhava's text, and somehow after all of that, we still might not get it. However, there's hope. No, there is hope. It's not all bad news. Don't worry. I'm getting to that. However, we are developing our wisdom, right? And at this point, when you have this wisdom developed, like the example of the initial disciples of the Buddha, then this syllable ah is enough to trigger that and realize emptiness. Yeah, without wisdom, it's a little bit difficult. Yeah, but we're doing okay. It's not completely hopeless. So is there any questions?
Discussion group. Do you have discussion or no? No discussion. No discussion? Okay, then the next time we don't need discussion topic, isn't it? Homework, okay. Oh, this homework, okay, yeah. Alright. You have a question? Yeah.
When you were talking about the functional nature of the book, is the non-functional nature of the book? Is that the essence of the book, the non-functional nature?
Okay, yeah. So when we're talking about the functional nature of the book, we said that eliminated or contradicted the non-functional nature of the book. Is that non-functional nature emptiness? So nanzo deb di nobo tagna dini deb nobo mayinba gaggire lamsang gaggire. So deb nobo mayinba di tongpanire or kande ho?
Mare. Deb nobo mayinba tongpani mare.
Right.
Deb mare. Da deb nobo mayinba demba tube tonga tie tongpani chagayo mare.
Well, okay. No, the non-functioning book is eliminated, but the lack of true existence of the non-functioning book, then that's said to be the emptiness. Yeah, that would be the emptiness of it. The non-true existence of the non-functioning book would be the emptiness of the non-functioning book. The non-functioning, how would you say non-functioning book? I don't know.
Te mayimbe demba tube tonga. Te mayimbe demba tonga.
No, it's...
No, but you're negating everything that's book. I say everything that's non-book. He's asking if that's...
No, it's like... Okay, so did nobo, deb nobo, tang nobo me des couple did nobo kaliga takpa me takpa tang takpa des so des labro.
Dilada. Tep de suglap she lagin.
Sugre dilay labdo.
Tep de sugro as. Shesan tep de su inde da sug mayimba kegoro ko.
Right.
Tep de sug mayimba kegoro.
It's a little bit, the trick here is that this nobo in Tibetan doesn't translate that great in English, like it's functioning thing, non-functioning thing. So to use another example, if you understand book to be form, then it eliminates book not being form, right? It immediately eliminates non-formness of book. Do you understand? It means if book is form, it can't not be form, right? So that's eliminated. So if it's a functioning thing, it can't not be a functioning thing. Yeah. And so if you understand the book to be impermanent, it means that it eliminates the book being permanent.
So you
So it means the book's not permanent.
Didn't you say the functional nature of the book establishes the
No, eliminates the non-functional nature of book. Eliminates. I may have made a mistake there. It is possible. I've been known to not be that great at times. But that's what I meant to say. Yeah, it eliminates the non-functional nature.
Yeah.
The quotation that we have on page 176 at the top there, the last line says the individual moments of hot and cold are not mutually exclusive or contradictory. Could you explain that?
Okay, so we're looking at verse on page 76, the last line. The individual moments of each are not mutually exclusive or contradictory, meaning hot and cold. Kanda di piyumana so di sawa di tama di satang trang kechig rere gawa mare ini gakpa mare.
원래 계직 숨버디.
Di kechig rere di gawa mare gakpa mare.
그래서
Mutually exclusive or contradictory.
딜레단다 차단이 전화 차릭 다리 뇌베주 뇌전뇌지 계직 숨발란 거 됐어. 아니, 단다디.
Yeah. It is there to continue that excludes. So the gunlatini gaware the kechigmana gawamare.
그래서 계직 군이 태대요라다. 데리다 계직 당버들레 태대도 계직 니월레 태대도 계직 순배 내가 아니 태어 매우 차서 어디가 왔다.
So it's saying it's explained. I didn't read it back, which I probably should have. But anyway, like we said that it's in the verse it says that the continuums are what's a contradict that exclude each other, right? And so they're contradictory, but the individual moments are not. So what it means is we talked about it being broken down to 3 moments. Right? So the first moment they meet, the second moment they meet, and only in the third moment do they actually exclude each other.
그래서 다 균에 두고 말이라고 하고 균에서 다 균을 뇌지 도르면서 군이 태서 당보태 니워태 숨버태서.
So it's in terms of the continuum that they contradict or eliminate each other. But in terms of the actual moments, of those 3 moments, the first moment they meet and the second moment they're still meeting, it's only in the third moment that they actually cut it. So you got to think in terms of the continuum that they contradict, not in terms of the individual moments.
네, 네, 삼로 십자 십당도 와. 네, 삼로 띵사고 당도. 네다 철에나라 저버저는 어디서 통용 거래. 저버저들아. 저버저들네. 이거 스면이나 배나 봐. 착과 매 차고는 착과로나 되게 착과도 매니 태대로 그냥. 그님도 여러 세상 내가 당보도 친구라다. 내가 니와 친구로 봐. 아니 순번에 그 양자 되어야 매우 차도 달 현직도 내면서 와서 되도나. 디 전다다다 로성하다.
Right. So as you debate it more, as you contemplate it and debate it more, then it becomes clearer. That's how you get a clear understanding. But to give an example, if you take ice and fire, right? So you literally throw ice on the fire. In the first moment they meet, in the second moment they meet, it's only like in the third moment in this description that the ice is actually eliminated and the fire, if the fire is stronger, that's established.
대단기들 들라서 주주 통슈디 숨레스 주주 링을 주주 직대거래 주주 니대거래 주주 나대거래 주주 링을 봐.
Okay. It's established in these 3 moments in terms of that's how we perceive it or literally see it, right? However, those moments could be longer and shorter depending on what's actually going on, but it's 3 perceivable moments or 3 seeable moments.
Oh, yeah, that is how.
Okay, so we'll stop there.
Jimmy, the control homework, that is Linjiminega, the Petan, Susku, and Shevar, so the Lanawa, the Mumbai, Sadani, and the Gaji Dodan, there's some down the Ninja.
Right.
And the net that Chambadan, Kondodan, the Linjiminega in that, there's some down away.
Okay, so thinking about this, different types of this contradiction due to incompatibility. So we had hot and cold, light and dark, and love and hatred. So think about these three illustrations. If this is for the homework, think about these three illustrations and understand the difference and the similarities between them. So try and understand these. So if you can actually come up with your own examples of these three different types, so if we have your own examples of these different types of contradictions, then that will show or help to deepen your understanding.
Okay, we stop here.
Page 31. These are the nearest of these virtuous actions. Without exception, and to that supreme jewel, Bodhicitta,
Sonamdi tanje zewa yi goma ji jinju ta de ne gada na da chiwe la do de sibe so le do ra sho chue je wo zong ga we chi de na ma be wa da ge ji se ma shi wa da tin je ma le sa wa sho da da je je de da na de sa nya na nya je wa da da ma yi de ma yi re ma ji ji ara ra ga we jing ga de be na de wa ma le ji ji re se wa de de je Shabe Side Bado de Yuroji.
source of every single benefit and happiness in this world, to the incomparably kind Tenzin Gyatso I beseech, may all your holy wishes be spontaneously fulfilled. Savior of this know and teachings and transmigratory beings, who makes extremely clear the path to this unification of emptiness and compassion, to the lotus holder Tenzin Gyatso I beseech, may all your holy wishes be spontaneously fulfilled. You who uphold the subduous moral way, who serve as the bountiful bearer of all, sustaining, preserving, and spreading Manjunath's victorious doctrine, who masterfully accomplish magnificent prayers honoring the three jewels, Savior of myself and others, your disciples, please live long. By relying on the true accumulation